is the quality score stuff came out, and I think I talked about that last year with just self-serve being harder and PPC being harder, and it just seems to keep continuing to be like that. Like anywhere you're buying traffic, that a lot of people are buying traffic, it gets harder. So one of the things that I can tell you is pretty valuable is spotting these combinations, and Mike's going to talk more about that later, which is basically, you know, an offer, a set of ads, and some traffic sources. And if you kind of know an offer, a set of ads, and some traffic sources, and something that can work on a lot of traffic, like high volume media buys, then a lot of times you can just take that traffic combination and monetize it from there without having to totally reinvent the wheel. And with display-based buys, that's one thing that we've started really doing, is looking in all sorts of little areas for traffic combinations that have proof of a lot of volume of traffic going at them. And then from there, trying to scale these certain combinations. So, you know, mobile pin submit stuff is a pretty big combination right now that's spread out in a lot of places. Dating's always been a big combination, but you can drill down to deeper level of what offer was I actually talking about with the mobile, what does the lander look like, and that's about it. So that's really what I've been doing, is just spotting these combinations and then using a team to scale out and provide data for me that I can make key decisions on. So and a lot of that stuff I've always done by spying and just getting curious and stuff. And now it's more involved more into actual relationships where I can speak to people about these combinations and stuff. So I thought doing this webinar with Mike made a lot of sense. And I don't usually get on the start of a webinar if it's for someone else and stuff, but I've always liked the stuff that Mike teaches. And every time we get on the phone to chat a bit, we're completely on the same page, and we even have the two different businesses. You have the Adbeat, I got the PPC Ninja, and you know, we get tired of some of the actual underground traffic stuff we're doing, so we step over to this side and do a little bit of teaching and get some fulfillment stuff. And Mike's stuff's really good, and what Mike talks about is really good, and the way he looks at it and the way that he's broken into this buying traffic space is pretty cool. So I'll hand it over to you, Mike, and let you take it from there.
All right. Thanks, Christian. Thanks for inviting me on for the call, and thanks everybody for attending this evening. I'd like to do just a quick sound check before we get started. Can you guys type in the questions box there and let me know if you can hear me okay? All right. It's got some yeses. Okay. So it looks like we're good. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thanks again, Christian, and let's go ahead and get this off the ground here. All right, so before we start, I want to just mention this really quick. I recommend you put away any distractions, you know, whether it's Facebook or other browser windows open, just so you can focus on what it is that I have to teach you guys today. I'm going to be talking pretty fast because there's an awful lot of material to cover in this webinar, and I want to make sure that we get through it all. You know, feel free to take notes and definitely ask questions along the way. There'll be some time for questions during the call, but definitely towards the end of the call there, we'll have time for questions as well. And I may ask you to participate at some points during the call, and I'd appreciate it if you help me out with that. All right, so here's what we're going to cover today. This is what you'll learn. I'm going to talk about how I recently took my affiliate commissions from nothing to up to a $50,000 a day with commissions, with affiliate commissions, and that's without any tricks at all. So I mean, you know, no cloaking, none of this, you know, breaking terms of service or any kind of really, you know, any sneaky stuff really. This is all just kind of just totally above the board, you know, affiliate promotions, and in fact the offers are offers that anybody can access. Okay, we'll next cover 5 million-dollar business models that are working right now with media buying, with pay-per-click and media buying. And my goal there is to really explain to you guys that there's so many different ways that people are currently making money buying media and promoting affiliate offers or building out their own offers or whatever. So we're going to cover that with this second point. And then finally, you know, how to enter competitive markets while spending as little as possible. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to show you exactly kind of how I start out when I'm entering a market, so you can understand a little more about how you go about doing that. All right, so a little bit of background on me. You know, I've been a full-time internet marketer since 2008. and I've done about $6.5 million in affiliate commissions over the last few years. I'm the founder of Adbeat, which is a software product that provides competitive intelligence for media buying, for display media. We'll talk a little bit about that later. That's not what the webinar is really about. There's going to be a lot of material that we cover before we even get into anything about Adbeat. But towards the end of this call, I will have an offer for you guys that you'll probably, find to be a really good value, and I think a lot of you guys will want to take advantage of what I have to offer at the end. But before we get to that, I've got a bunch of training here. Now, I want to talk about just to give you guys some perspective on what's possible with display media and with affiliate marketing. Okay, this is a screenshot showing my best month ever. This was $190,000 profit. Now, this was a couple years ago. Okay, most of what I'm going to talk about in this webinar is recent stuff that's just within the last few months of this year. But this is my best month ever, so I wanted to kind of show you that as an example. This was done just promoting ClickBank products on the Google Display Network. Right? This was a couple years ago when it was a lot easier to do that on Google. Now it's you'll run into some problems oftentimes if you try to do that with certain offers on Google. This was done all with text ads. Okay, there was no banners involved at all. So Google Display Network text ads and just a direct link to a ClickBank offer actually is all this was. Now, recently this year I've been doing some things that are kind of almost the exact opposite of this. Okay, still using media buying to drive affiliate sales, but I'm not using Google at all. I haven't used Google in quite a while, so all the traffic I've been driving recently has been completely off Google, and I'm using only banner ads. Okay. So, no more text ads. All the stuff I'm going to talk about here in this example is banner ad traffic. Now, these are some recent screenshots. This is from Q1 of this year, so we're talking about just a couple months ago here in February. I've stitched together a couple screenshots. And, just to give you an idea of what sort of profit we're talking about for some of these days, I'm just going to give you an example for the best days here, okay? This was $16,000 profit, $17,000 profit in a single day, all right, just with ClickBank products, okay, promoting these products through media buys. Now, this campaign, actually this is two campaigns, okay, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit more later. This is two campaigns, and this went on for months and months, and in fact, I'm still promoting these products, okay? The numbers aren't near as good as what we're seeing here, all right, but I'm still promoting these campaigns. They're still profitable campaigns. So here's that $50,000 day, by the way. This is March 11th, $50,000 in affiliate commissions. This was not the most profitable day of this, this few months time span here. This was actually only about $10,000 profit on this day. So the highest, the biggest commission day, isn't always necessarily the highest profit day. I had some better days that were lower than this day here. Now, I want to call your attention to this in the upper right here. This just shows you how steady, we're talking about for this campaign. This is something that ran for several months at really high volume levels. Okay, so this is actually, you're looking at roughly $175,000 a week in affiliate commissions, which is basically $25,000 a day average in affiliate commissions over fairly long stretches of time here we're talking about. This isn't a few days or a few weeks even. So just to give you an idea of what's still possible even right now in 2012 with affiliate marketing. Now, I know everybody always wants to know what is the actual profit that we're talking about here. So this is just kind of a summary of what we're talking about for two of these really good months here that I had earlier this year. This is over $100,000 profit in January, over $180,000 in February. So pretty significant profits. And all we're talking about here is ClickBank affiliate marketing. Now, I want to make sure you understand I don't own any ClickBank products. I'm not promoting products that I own as a merchant. These are products that are available in the ClickBank marketplace for everyone to promote. Okay. All right. I got a question here. Are these numbers net profit? These are commission. Taking into account refunds, any kind of performance bonuses and all that, minus ad spend. So that's what we're talking about here. There isn't really any other costs involved in this business, okay? This is basically me doing this media buying. So unlike Christian, who's got a really good thing going with a team, I don't quite have a team built out for media buying yet. I do have a team for other businesses that I'm working on, but not really for the media buying so far anyway. All right, now just a little bit more about these results, because there's some really interesting things about these campaigns. So these were started in November with $0. All right, so this is, I want to get you to understand just how fast this ramp up can happen. We're talking about 2 new offers here, so I'd never promoted these particular offers before, and every traffic source was new to me. So I was operating on new ad networks that I'd never used before. I was operating on new direct site buys that didn't have an existing relationship with either. So I was going out there and finding new traffic sources and making that happen, and that's what resulted in all this traffic. We're not talking about something that I had, years of experience with a certain ad network or any kind of, inside deals with a particular traffic source or, a particular offer, anything like that. I mentioned before, no loopholes, no gimmicks, no cloaking. Everything that I'm going to talk about in this webinar is, it's time-tested stuff. It's not things that are going to stop working, next week or stopped working last month or something like that. Okay, there's nothing that's that would limit anybody from taking this information and going out and making money with it. Okay, also, nothing that would cause trouble with the FTC. So I wasn't using any sort of crazy, any sort of crazy ad copy or landing pages that could potentially get you in trouble with the FTC. And then finally, almost entirely this was done through credit lines. Okay, so this is just an example of one ad network where I had over $800,000 credit available. This is not like a deposit or something that I made. This is budget that was available to me to spend as a credit line. Okay, so I didn't even have to shell out my own money to drive all these sales. So that's something else that a lot of people, I think, don't understand, that it's possible to get to this point. Now you have to build up to this, of course, but it's pretty interesting, how quickly you can really build up to that sort of traffic level and that sort of credit line. All right, now before I start, I also want to mention this because I've just talked about a lot of big numbers, and I think a lot of people get scared off with big numbers, and they think, well, you must need a ton of money to start and all this kind of stuff, and that's just really not the case at all. Okay, this is when I started back in late 2007. This is a situation I was at. I was working at a job that I didn't like. This was the cubicle right here that I went to every day to work at. I used to be an engineer. I worked at Intel, and I'd made some really bad decisions with real estate. I'd lost a ton of money, and I was actually $110,000 in debt. Okay. I owed that to credit cards and family members, and it was really a bad situation, and it wasn't a good time during my life. Okay, this is when I started pay-per-click. This is when I got into first got into the Google Display Network and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't have a lot of money at the time. Now I had a good job, so I did have a few $100 a month that I could sort of divert to learning this media buying stuff. But I didn't have a bunch of money sitting in the bank. All right, so I just want to make that clear. This is what we're talking about, all right? We're talking about banner ads. These are the kinds of ads that, these are the sorts of ad units that I was using earlier this year, and I still am using, that we're talking about. So the term here is media buying or display. You may have heard it called display advertising. That means the same thing. It's basically, placing banners on websites. And the great thing about media buying, this is what I really like, is that you can often write just a few ads, and there's just massive traffic available, and there's potential for big overnight success. And what I mean by overnight is like a few months time, you can go from nothing to tens of thousands of dollars a day, and that's pretty much, and that's my definition of overnight when you're talking about a business. I mean, it's pretty amazing that it's possible to do that. All that's possible because of the massive traffic that you can leverage with media buying. All right, so that's what the focus of this whole webinar is going to be. We're going to talk about 5 business models that apply to media buying. Now, these business models, you can drive other sorts of traffic and they may work, but I know that the things I'm going to talk about are working for media buying and for display traffic. So that's kind of the context of everything that I'm going to be talking about today. Now, again, this is the only way to scale to big numbers. Okay, we're talking $10,000 to $100,000 a day. Honestly, you can go even higher than this at the highest levels of people that really have this stuff down. But these are, substantial numbers, and this is really the only way that I know of to do it is with media buying. All right, and here's the reason for that. There's just so much traffic available because this is where people go on the internet. They go into the websites that they find, even if they start at the search page, right? Even if they start here and they're exposed to search ads, most of the people don't click on these search ads, all right? This sort of, colored map here is an eye tracking study that shows, the hotter spots are where more people are looking and where more people are clicking, and then it's cooler as it goes out, and basically you can see that nobody pays much attention to any of this stuff out here, right? So even people that come into the internet through a search page usually, end up very quickly on a website, some website that they find in the search results, right? So that's where all those banner ads are, and that's why there's just so much more exposure to banner ad traffic, and there's so much more traffic available than there is from search ads. All right, now one thing I want to mention before we get into the main content here is there's 3 lies here that I want you to be aware of, and if you're thinking any of this stuff, or if you've heard people say this stuff, I want you to understand that these things are just absolutely not true, okay? I hear people say this all the time. Affiliate marketing is too hard in 2012, right? All the easy money is gone. Back in 2005 it was easy, or 2007 it was easy. People have been saying this every single year about affiliate marketing, and the reality is things have changed a little bit, okay? Things change every single year with affiliate marketing, but there's plenty of money still available. I mean, I think the screenshots that I've showed you already proves that, but I'm going to show you some more case studies towards the end of this webinar, if you're still not convinced, okay? So don't believe this, all right? This was what causes people to sort of lose focus and stop working, towards, having success, all right? The second one here is display advertising doesn't work, all right? You may have heard that it's too hard to get started, or it costs $10,000 just to do a single, buy on a website. And you know what? There are some websites that cost $10,000 to do a single buy. You can't even buy on the site without committing to $10,000, all right? And I buy on some of those websites now, but when I started, I didn't, okay? So there's plenty of places you can buy that, even if you're doing a direct site buy, you don't have to commit to $10,000 or anything like that. You can find websites to place ads for $50 or $100 or even $25. So this is just absolutely not true either. All right, and then the final one is that there's no money in ad network traffic. I've heard this quite a bit, that it's too competitive to use ad networks, right? You have to go and buy, negotiate direct site deals, and that takes too much time, so it's too hard and all this stuff. Well, I'll tell you this, in those screenshots that I showed you earlier, that traffic that was responsible for those screenshots, about 2/3 of that traffic was from ad networks, okay? And it was very profitable for me. So there's plenty of opportunity out there even with ad networks still. All right, so this just isn't true either. All right, so I wanted to cover those things. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Now, for anybody that doesn't understand what a CPA offer is or what an affiliate offer really is, there's just a couple slides here real quick. This is a short form submit. You might get paid, $3 to $5 for a submit like this. So you're going to send traffic to this site. They're going to pay you because you help them get a member signed up. All right, that's one example. Now here's an example of something that I'm more familiar with. Okay, these are the kinds of offers that I tend to promote. This is Truth About Abs, and this was actually the first affiliate offer that I ever promoted way back in late 2007 when I started, and I did really well with this for quite a while. Now this is a cost per sale, right? So you get paid roughly $30 when you create a sale for the merchant, okay, for the website owner. So that's another example of an affiliate product. All right, so everything we're going to cover, is independent of market. It doesn't even matter if you're an affiliate or not an affiliate. In fact, a couple of the business models that I'm going to go over aren't really affiliate models strictly, although they still involve affiliate marketing. So just keep this in mind. Even if you're not really that interested in affiliate marketing, everything I'm going to discuss here, is applicable as well. All right. Now, if you saw a webinar that I did last year, some of you on the call may have seen a webinar I did last year, and I talked in detail about each of these points here. Now, this is kind of the secret to massive traffic and profits, and it's a high converting offer or a landing page, some setup of offer and landing page, high converting ad copy, high converting sites or placements, and these things kind of multiply together to give you really good results. Now, in the next section here, these 5 business models, what I'm going to talk about is just really dive into what's working for this part of this equation here, okay, for this part of the puzzle, all right? So we're gonna get into that, and you'll see that there are multiple different ways that people are having success on just this part of kind of the puzzle here. All right, so here's those 5 models, all right? And I like to call these the 5 paths to profit, because these are 5 different ways right now that people are having success with media buying, and they're making a lot of money with it, okay? Now they start here with just direct linking. A lot of you guys know that, you know, I've had a lot of experience with direct linking. That screenshot that I showed you, that best month ever I did, was done with direct linking. So that's a really simple model, okay? Now these get a little more difficult as you go in, and we're going to dive in right now and kind of take a look at that, and I'm going to go through some pros and cons and why you might want to think about one versus another. All right, so this is direct linking, okay? This is the idea here. Most people can understand this pretty easily. This is what I started with, and the reason why I started with this is that it made sense to me, okay? I understood that I could put a ClickBank hop link in my destination URL for the ad, and then I would get credit when I sent traffic to that site. You know, I didn't really have to figure out complex tracking and everything. So this is what I started with, you know, a while back. Now the pro here is that it's super easy. It's cheap to get started. You don't have to build a website. You don't have to know coding or design or hire anyone to do any of that. Like I said, tracking is easy. It allows you to focus because you really don't have much you can do except, you know, write different ads and place them in different places. And you can start making a commission, you know, as soon as tomorrow. Basically, you know, anybody on this call could go and place some ads on a self-serve network starting tomorrow and make a commission. Now, you might not be profitable, okay, because there's other things that you need to understand, you know, to make sure that you're profitable. But just the fact that you could start so quickly and actually see sales coming in, which can be pretty motivating the first time you see that, is a cool thing about direct linking. You know, any of the other models we're going to cover take a little bit of time to prepare the site and the landing page and all this kind of stuff. Now, the con here is that there's often just slim margins, okay? That's the problem. You're trying to just sort of insert yourself in between the ad and the sale and hope to extract a little bit of profit out of that. So that's really, you know, one of the problems with this model. You're left with no asset, okay? You're just driving traffic, and you're not capturing any of that traffic for yourself. You're not collecting emails. You know, you don't have a website. So, you know, there's some problems with this model, okay? It's not really the best kind of business for long-term sort of business. Now, you know, here's the next one, okay? Single or a multi-step landing page. This is an example of an affiliate that's operating right now on the Google Display Network with a review-style landing page that's done very professionally. A lot of people think that you can't run affiliate promotions on Google, or you can't run a review-style landing page, and believe me, there's plenty of people running review-style landing pages on Google right now. You just have to do it the right way, and this is an example of somebody who's really doing it correctly, and Google has let this site run for many months, you know, at a time. So this is an example of a landing page. You know, here you're sending traffic to the landing page, and then the affiliate links are on the page, right? So this is a little more complex. You have more control over testing because you've got all these factors on the landing page that you can adjust and see if they give you better results or make you more money. You know, it's still relatively easy to track. It's not that difficult to figure out, so that's another pro. Again, the margins typically aren't that great on this model. For most landing pages that won't get you in trouble, you know, basically, the margins aren't that great. Now, there's some people that, you know, use landing pages like the fake news style pages or the fake blog style pages that a lot of you guys may have seen before. And, you know, a lot of times the margins on those can be really good. Okay, that's why people use those pages, because they make a lot of money. You know, I don't really recommend using those types of pages. There's a lot of people running into trouble with the FTC because of that kind of stuff, and you'll even run into trouble on some ad networks now because of that as well. So if you're not using one of those pages, a typical landing page, the margin typically isn't that great, okay? So again, like direct linking, maybe not such great margins. Barrier to entry is still pretty low, so that means that you're not really building kind of a defense around your business. All right, other people can kind of still pile in and crowd the market a little bit. Again, really not like a huge asset value here because you're not building a list. So if something happens to the traffic source, like say this guy does get banned from Google, well, his business kind of goes away, basically overnight, because if he's not collecting emails that he can then email and actually create his own traffic through his email list, then he's kind of stuck with the traffic he can figure out how to buy from different ad networks. So that's not the best situation either for a long-term business. Go ahead and type in the questions if you have any questions so far, and I'll try to maybe answer a couple. Just let me know if something jumps out at you if you've got a question. Let's see here. I've got somebody asking about Bruce asking about tracking. So I use an ad server typically now. I don't always use an ad server. Some of the buys I do through some networks, I just use their tracking, and they have pixel tracking on the network, and so I'll just use that. But I typically use an ad server for a lot of my stuff. So that's but you don't have to use an ad server. There's people that use Prosper 202 or some other sort of tracking system that can work as well. Chris, an ad server manages ads and provides tracking. It's too complex to kind of get in on this call, but it basically just manages your ads and manages your tracking so that you know which ads are working. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a service, Chris. It's basically a hosted service. There's some free ad servers, but typically you're going to pay a little bit. Yeah, Bruce is saying Bevo Media is another tracking solution. Yeah, that's another one. So there's options out there for tracking. It's a little too much to get into on this call. All right, so here's the next model, okay? Lead capture arbitrage. Now the difference here, you're still only an affiliate, okay? There's no, you're not collecting anybody's money. You're not charging them anything yourself with this model. This is strictly an affiliate model. So the banner ad directs people to a landing page. Now there's a lead capture form on this page. Okay, it could be as simple as just an email address. It could be name and email, or you could even have more fields if you wanted to get more detail about that lead. The difference here now is that the model is very different. Typically, there's not going to be an affiliate promotion on the landing page at all. So there's no link on the landing page where you could actually get paid, as an affiliate. So the landing page, the sole purpose landing page, is just to capture that email, and then as soon as that email is captured, the visitor is going to be sent to a thank you page offer. Okay, so they're going to opt into the list and immediately be presented with an offer, with an affiliate offer. And then they can even be presented with several more affiliate offers, one after the other. Okay, that's a little more complex, but it could be as simple as just one offer on the landing page after they opt in. So that's the first chance you have to basically make money with this model. Now the next thing that happens is you're added to an email list. The visitor is added to an email list at the same time, and then over time, day 1, day 2, day 3, you're going to send out emails. And the people that came to your site that registered are going to get those emails, and then they're going to click affiliate links that are in the emails, or they're going to click links that direct them back to either this website or another website that has affiliate links on the page. Okay, so now you have all these different opportunities to make money from this list. Okay, you can send 40, 50, 60 emails right after another, and every single one of those emails is a chance for you to make additional commissions from that initial lead that came in. All right, so there's some things about this model that are really good. Okay, that ability to contact them time and time again allows higher margins, because you're typically going to be able to make more per visitor because you have this opportunity to keep contacting them. So that allows you to pay more for traffic. And of course, you're building an asset here. Now you have an email list, and it's very possible to build an email list of many hundreds of thousands of people on your list. If you get a setup like this working fairly well, in a very short amount of time. It doesn't necessarily have to take that long to build an email list of several 100,000 people. So, when you have an email list of, you start to get into substantial numbers of emails on your list, you could actually make, basically like a full-time living just emailing that list, okay? Even if all your traffic sources were shut off tomorrow, even if, just basically everything else about the business crumbled and you still have that email list, well, you can still make a substantial income just emailing that list with new offers and new opportunities for you to make a commission. So that's the great thing about this, okay? Now, the problem here is that it's a little bit, email marketing is a little bit tricky. There's some things to learn there, and this is something that really kind of surprised me because I didn't get into email marketing until last year. And what I found was it was a little more difficult for me to learn than I anticipated. I kind of thought that I had all this media buying stuff figured out, and seemed to me that the email stuff should be pretty easy. Well, I found it's really kind of its own, it's its own animal, and you really have to figure out, a lot of things about email marketing to make it work. So there are some things to learn here, okay? It's not like super easy to just, run with this. You have to learn a few things about email marketing to make sure that everything stays working. There's more effort involved because you have to write all these emails and you have to, build out this thank you page funnel. So, there's a little more involved than just a simple landing page or direct link. And the final thing here is I think it helps if you understand the big picture when you're setting up one of these paths, because the best sort of scenario is you have kind of a main theme on your landing page. All right, here this is about owning a home. Okay, so there's something that you're offering here about owning a home that's going to interest people that are interested in owning a home. And so the theme of all these email promotions and these different offers in email should kind of stick with that theme of owning a home. All right, that's the way that this is going to get the best results. So it helps if you can kind of understand the big picture with affiliate marketing and you're aware of kind of different offers that are out there, and you can sort of think ahead and think about, this is how I might design a path, and these are the offers that I might put in it. So this takes a little bit more research, I think, to kind of do one of these correctly. All right, now here's the next model, and this isn't an affiliate model strictly, okay? In this business model, you basically are going to create a digital product. Now, it's not as hard as you might think to create a digital product. There is some extra work involved, but I'm going to show you one example later in this webinar where somebody created one for very inexpensively and is doing quite well with it. So the model here is now you're creating a product that you own, okay? So instead of just being an affiliate now, you're actually handling payment processing, okay? You have a merchant account and you have that set up so you can collect credit cards on your site, or you partner with a payment processor like ClickBank or like PayPal or whatever. And the difference here is that you actually have a way to charge somebody, and so now you're collecting money on your own. Now the big thing to understand here is that there's still a lot of affiliate marketing that goes on the back end of almost every single digital product that I've ever seen. There's heavy affiliate promotion going on the back end. So once that buyer comes into your funnel, you're still going to send them a bunch of offers that you can potentially make an affiliate commission on. So it's a little bit different kind of on the front end where you're going for a sale, but there's still going to be a lot of affiliate promotion on the back end with the email sequence. Now, the pros here are there's, again, higher margins. Of course, you have 100% commission because you own the product. If you're promoting this yourself, you have 100% commission. Just to give you an idea of how important that would be, imagine if I owned those ClickBank offers that I was promoting earlier with those screenshots, right? So I probably would have made double the profit that I showed you in those few months, or any month basically, because the merchant is making a lot of profit while I'm promoting those products. If I own those, I probably would have made around double the actual profit for those promotions. So that's a pretty big deal. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, so that allows you to pay more for traffic and allows you to scale up easier because you can pay more for the traffic. The great thing about digital products is it's really easy to deal with delivery and with returns and all that stuff because there's no product, right? So nobody has to ship something back to you, and you don't have to ship anything to them. So that's a great thing about digital products. This is a model that I really like. Okay, I've promoted a lot of digital products as an affiliate, and I really like this model, and I'm planning on building out plenty of digital products that I personally own myself. Okay, for all these reasons, right? It's a better it's a better position to be in than just as an affiliate. Now there are some problems with this as well. Okay, there's more upfront costs. You have to deal with returns now because you're not just an affiliate. So now you have to actually make sure that people get the refunds if they ask for them, and customer service, all that kind of stuff. So there's a more significant effort here, I think, involved than any of the previous models that I showed you. It also helps if you have some subject matter expertise, especially if we're talking about digital info products. There's other kinds of digital products, but I'm kind of more talking about like info products, ebooks, that sort of thing. So it helps if you have subject matter expertise for whatever it is the product that you want to make, but you don't have to. There's plenty of people out there that have really substantial businesses. I can tell you that several of the top ClickBank diet products are partnerships. Okay, so one person has the subject matter expertise, and the other person helps to build out the marketing and get affiliates on board and all this kind of stuff. So you don't have to actually have subject matter expertise. You can partner with someone, or you can actually hire the content to be written by somebody. That's another option. So there's several kind of options to go with that. All right, now the last one here is physical products. Okay, this is a model that I haven't been that interested in on myself so far, just because I don't want to really deal with shipping. Okay, so that's some of the cons here, right? It's going to be a little more complex with the website because you have to tie in the purchase to fulfillment and to shipping to make sure all that happens quickly or automatically, or you have to at least keep up with it if it's not automatic. You have to deal with sourcing and inventory, so you have to figure out how to get the product manufactured or find a place you can buy it wholesale or whatever, get excuse me, get labels made up and all that, and then you have to deal with inventory because it's a physical product, so you have to have plenty on hand to ship out. There's returns you have to deal with and people shipping stuff back. So there's more to this, right? There's definitely more to this than selling an ebook, which avoids a lot of this stuff. So this tends to be a little more complex. Now there's a lot of people doing really well with this model, though, making a lot of money. So there's a lot of benefits to going with this sort of a model. Force Factor, a lot of you guys may be familiar with Force Factor. You may have seen them advertising. They're making a ton of money, and their revenue numbers must be just absolutely crazy because I know one of the places that they buy advertising is on the AOL homepage, and I know that an AOL homepage placement goes for $100,000 for a single day. Okay, for one banner ad like this 300 by 250 size for a single day is $100,000. So if you can imagine, they're buying advertising on a single banner on a single URL that goes for $100,000 in a day. So I mean, imagine how much their total advertising is, and the kinds of numbers that they're hitting, on a daily basis. Just it's kind of mind-boggling to think, how many sales they're driving through online advertising. So the pros here are you get a really high customer value if you do this right, because a lot of times what we're talking about is consumable products. Whether it's pills or diet pills or muscle building pills or energy pills or brain pills or skincare creams or something. The thing that all of those things have in common are that they're consumable products. Okay, so people, if they like the product, they're going to use the product, and then they're going to use it up. So they need to buy more of the product. So that results in people continuing to pay on a monthly basis to get more of the product, and so that results in really high customer value and high margins. That's what allows Force Factor to be buying ads on the AOL homepage. All right, so there's a lot of great things about this, but it's just a little more advanced to kind of get off the ground. All right, any other questions on this stuff so far? Let's see, back to the email model. Robert's asking about to get double opt-in. There's pluses and minuses to double opt-in. Lately, I haven't been doing double opt-in, but there's some problems with that. So a lot of people recommend double opt-in, but I haven't been doing it lately. All right. So, all right, this is really what I want to drive home. All of these models are working right now. Okay. There's no, one best model or one best way to make money. It just depends on your skills, the resources that you have available, your desire to maybe, maybe you really like the idea of one of those models, and then your experience. Okay, so you can be successful with any one of those models right now, and there are people in all sorts of markets doing well with each of those models. I recommend you stick to health, wealth, and relationships. These are kind of the big three, master niches, and under these, there's a lot of sub niches. So this is really where the biggest money is with media buying. You can buy ads from an ad network or direct from sites. Okay, you can have success either way. There's pluses and minuses to ad networks and direct site buys. And then lastly, I recommend you study the market to see what's working. Now, of course, that's what some of you may know. That's what Adbeat does. That's what Adbeat allows you to do. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Let's see here. What I've seen some questions here. A lot of people asking, what are you doing? Which model are you using? So that's why I have this question here. Guys, just type in the question box and tell me, what do you think? What path was I using to reach that 50K in a day in 4 months' time, starting from nothing earlier this year? Which one of those paths? We know it's one of the first three, right? Because I didn't own a product. I told you that, and I wasn't, selling physical products. So it's one of the first three. We got email, direct linking, email, lead capture, direct linking, banner ads, direct linking, lead arbitrage. So it looks like we're kind of split between direct linking and lead capture. All right. Okay, so here's the answer. I'm going to tell you guys what the answer is. It was all done with direct linking. Okay, still, 4 years later from when I started with affiliate marketing, and I'm still, doing direct linking, which is kind of crazy, right? Now, the reason why, I really want to bring this up, and the point I want to make here is that, imagine how much opportunity is out there if I'm using direct linking to hit $50,000 in a day in affiliate commissions and do, six-figure profit months right now in 2012 with the worst business model possible. Okay, we just went over, those 5 models, and I explained to you, why direct linking really is the worst model, and there's so many better ways to actually make money and get better margins and all that. And yet it's still possible to do numbers that are kind of crazy, like this. So I hope that really drives home the point that there's just so much opportunity out there, even right now in 2012. So let's see here. Got a couple questions. Is this on credit? Yeah, Jay. A lot of the traffic that I buy is on credit. Yep. A lot of times I don't pay for the traffic at all until well after I get the affiliate commissions coming in. Let's see here. What's my longest running profitable campaign? I don't know. I mean, things happen. So there's plenty of campaigns that I sort of just drop that could still be profitable, but I just choose to go a different direction. So it's kind of hard to say. I can tell you that they could easily be years, right? Typically, I might not run something for more than maybe 6 to 9 months at a time, but they could be, the products that I promote could stay around for years. You could maintain profitable campaigns for years. Because I don't promote, fad sort of stuff. I stick to evergreen markets that are going to be here in 5 years, and I stick to products that aren't going to be gone, next week or next month. let's see here. Doug's asking, that 50K, Doug, was all from ClickBank, so it was all cost per sale stuff. That's what ClickBank is all about. Let's see here. So top 3 media sources. I'm not going to give away a bunch of media sources, Jay. I am going to cover some media sources at maybe the next slide, actually. Let's see here. I'm not going to talk about the market for those ClickBank products either. Sorry, I know there's some people asking about that. I'm not going to mention the market, but I will say it was 2 products, okay? So it was 2 products, 2 different markets. I'll tell you that. All right. Okay, yeah, so here we go. These are some ad networks that are out there that are available, to anybody to use, okay? So there's a bunch more ad networks, but these are some that are very common. And, all the traffic that I was driving to those ClickBank offers were on very well-known networks. They weren't, a bunch of secret traffic sources or something that other people don't have access to. And I will tell you, one of the networks I was using was AdDesk, okay? This is a network that's through AOL, tied into the advertising.com network. So that's one of the networks I was using. I was also using direct site buys. You can buy from 100,000 different sites. There's really no limit to the sites you can buy on, but you really want to stick to sites that have the most traffic so that your time is better spent. So there's people having success on all of these ad networks right now. I had some good success on MSN Content Network last year. Had good success on AdSonar last year. I mean, there's people having success on all of these ad networks. Okay, so don't get it in your head that there's one network, some secret network that's how you make all the money. That's just not the case at all. All right. Let's kind of move on here. There'll be time for more questions in a little bit, certainly towards the end of the call. Okay, so this is the next thing I want to cover, all right? How can you enter a new market if you're starting from scratch? I get this question a lot. People, a lot of times people will say, well, how can I possibly, find success if there's all these big guys that are already in the market I want to get into? Maybe it's diet, or maybe it's, credit reports, or whatever it is, there's already all these guys that are, highly experienced in their operating. Well, I'm going to show you sort of, a few tips here, an example of how you would sort of, get a foothold in that market and really enter a new market while trying to limit your ad spend so you're not just burning through a bunch of cash to get started, okay? So let's take a look at that. Now, before we get into that, you have to understand these are the major factors that affect a campaign, okay, whether a campaign is going to be successful. I mentioned before, I had that, those 3 main factors that I mentioned earlier in that slide. It's the offer and the path. This is really what we just focused on, those 5 business models. This is the only component really that really is a factor for. Those 5 models are about this offer and the path. Right? Now there's also ad copy, and there's also sites and placements. Where are you placing the ads? These are really the 3 major factors. I would call these the 3 most important factors for a campaign. There's also a bunch of little minor factors, okay? And some of these can be pretty important. I don't think they're ever going to be as important as these over here. But things like the demographic profile of how are you targeting according to demographic. Psychographics, which is different than demographics. That's more about people's interests and people's interests and desires are their belief system. Okay, that's what psychographic profiling is all about. There's some ad networks that allow you to target that way. There's also geo-targeting, of course. Where are you showing your ads? That can be at the state level, obviously country level, right? But I'm talking tighter than that, like state level or city level or zip code level. Targeting, and then there's day of the week, time of the day. All these things can be factors, and then the ad format. What size banners are people using that are having success? So what you want to do when you're starting out and you're starting a campaign is you want to identify as many of these factors as possible, and you want to basically take the best performing variation on each of these factors and try to figure out what that is as quickly as possible, and then sort of lock down that factor, that variation, the best variation of that factor as early as possible, and then move forward with your additional testing. Okay. So let me give you an example here. We'll talk about a diet offer, and let's look at that factor demographics. Okay. So demographics is basically really simple. It's, this is generally what demographics is about: male or female, and then age range. Okay. It could be just exact age, but most networks are going to have, an age range, right, that you can choose from. So male versus female and age. Now, if I was going to promote, if I was going to promote a diet offer, and I didn't know anything about the diet market at all, okay, I might think to myself, well, females are probably going to be more likely to buy a diet offer than males. That's just sort of something that you could probably figure out just by thinking about it, and observation that a lot of times females may be more concerned with watching their weight or something than guys. Guys tend to be kind of lazy and may not care that much, right? So that's you may just sort of start with that and just think to yourself, probably females, I want to just try that first. Okay, so before you even spend any money, you might decide to just focus on females. And then you've got the age range. Okay, now you might look at those age range groups and say, I don't know that many 18 to 24-year-olds that are really in need of a diet plan, right? That's pretty young. Most people may not start really putting on weight until their 30s, 40s, and later years. So maybe I don't even want to try to sell a diet product to an 18-year-old kid, right? Because it's probably not going to work that well. So I might just eliminate that completely before I even start, right? I'm not even going to waste money testing that age range to start. So I might zero that in, or sort of limit my age ranges to these here. Now you still have to test this stuff, right? Because you don't really know at this point. But the important thing here is you want to split your campaign up and collect data to find the best performing age group as early as possible, right? So you have to track to the individual age group level to make sure that you're actually getting the conversion data that you need to make your decisions and then move forward. Also, I forgot to mention here, you can also use, I just sort of thought through that example, right, just kind of based on what I know about people and life experience, but you can also use Quantcast and Alexa and to try to get some demographic info for the offer. And so that would be another way to try to zero in on some of this demographic info before you even start to spend money. All right, so let's look at what this data might look like once you've actually started spending some money on advertising. Now, this assumes that you send the same amount of traffic to each of these age groups, okay, for this data to make sense. So if you send the same amount of traffic to each of these age groups and you have 16 conversions in this group and you only have 7 in this group and 4 here, well, at this point, this isn't that much data, but I might decide this is enough to sort of make a call at this point, okay? And what I would do here, this is the conservative approach, all right? If you really want to limit your ad spend and make sure that you have the highest chance of reaching profitability quickly, what you do at this point is, you might decide, well, I'm just going to stick with the 36 to 45 targeting, okay? Because that's where most of my sales are coming in. And, maybe this is a decent age range and maybe this is too, I don't know. But, based on what I see so far, I think I'm just going to limit my ad spend to this group right here. And then I'm going to move forward and I'm going to start testing some other things to try to get more information so that I really understand what's going on with this campaign, okay? So that's how that would work to try to narrow down on the demographic factor. And then you would move on. So now you're just sending traffic to females of a certain age group, okay? Now, of course, this assumes you have a traffic source where you can do that. There's plenty of traffic sources where you can do that, okay? So, Plenty of Fish is one. Facebook is another. There's other websites that allow you to demographic target that have login information for users. So there's ad networks you can do that with. There's plenty of places you can do that. So now you would move on to another variable. Let's say you decided you wanted to look at day of week, okay? At this point, I would simplify the test, and I would say, I'm just going to look at the differences between the weekend performance and the weekday performance, okay? Because I think maybe people on the weekends are going to react a little bit differently than people on the weekdays, all right? if you had some reason to believe that a Tuesday might perform better than a Friday or something, then you might want to split this up into individual days of the week. But for the most part, weekend versus weekday is a good place to start. And so at this point, I'd split the campaign up into two parts, okay? So that's what you'd want to do. And now you're tracking weekend versus weekday conversions, okay? And then you're going to look at that data. Now, here, we're looking at the cost per conversion because you're probably not going to send the same amount of traffic on the weekend versus the weekday, just because there's 5 days during the week and only 2 on the weekend. So you're not going to have the same amount of traffic. So now you have to change what you're looking at to cost of conversion, okay? You can't just look at the total number of conversions because that'll look like the weekdays doing the best, but obviously it's not really because you're not sending near as much traffic on the weekend. So you look at cost of conversion here, and let's say it came to $32 for a sale, all right, during the or on the weekend. And let's say the weekday was $43. So now what you would do is you'd probably say to yourself, okay, now I'm going to target females 36 to 45, and I'm going to do that on weekends only, okay? Because I've learned from this test that the weekends seem to be performing a little bit better than the weekdays. So at this point, maybe you still need a $30 CPA to break even. Maybe your cost of conversion needs to come in at $30 in order for you to even break even on this campaign, so not even making a profit yet. At this point, that's absolutely fine. That's really not that big a deal, okay? Because you've just performed some tests and you've locked down 2 very important variables, okay? 2 really important factors for the campaign, and now you can just keep optimizing, knowing that this is the best place to focus for these 2 factors, okay? So now what you would do is you've got these 2 locked down, and now you would look at some of these other factors and see, what can you do to try to improve on these. Maybe at this point, you'd start testing some creative a little more, or maybe you'd test a different site. But now you already have some great information that's going to keep your cost of conversion relatively low while you're trying to figure out these other factors to really make this campaign perform for you. Okay, so I hope that gives you guys kind of an idea on how you can approach coming into a market and starting to really optimize a campaign and limit your ad spend as you're doing that. Okay, so this kind of, just to summarize some other points here, here's how to make sure that you win. Okay, you want to lock down those campaign variables as early as possible. And a common mistake here is just not tracking at the individual factor level. Okay, so just sort of throwing all your age groups together and not having the tracking set up properly from the very beginning when you start spending money to know which of those age groups is really working. Okay, so that's the biggest mistake that people make. And then also, not using competitive intelligence. And of course, that's what Adbeat is all about. We're going to talk about that a little later. But what competitive intelligence allows you to do is that before you even start the campaign, you can start locking down some of those variables that are going to be really critical for that campaign to perform. And you can do that before you even spend any of your own money. Okay, so that's the other thing that's important to really make progress quickly by locking down as many of those variables as possible. And then the next here is that establish break-even cash flow and hold there. Now a mistake here is that a lot of times what people will do is they'll shoot for profit too early, and what that does is it just starves the campaign of traffic for testing. You need to make sure that you have plenty of traffic available for testing, because you got to figure out what's the best variation of each of those factors that we just showed in that previous slide. So what I'm likely to do is hold a campaign at break even for quite a while. I mean, I might hold it there for a couple weeks. I might hold it there for a whole month. And I'm just basically going to take the profit that I could be making, and I'm going to throw that into testing more variations of each of those factors. I'm going to throw it into testing new traffic sources, and constantly be trying to expand that campaign. And then, at some point, I'm going to say, okay, enough is enough. It's time to start making some money here. And I'm basically going to flip everything to the best, the best variation from all the testing that I've done. And now all of a sudden, I'm going to be able to scale that campaign really well because it's going to have a great profit margin, and I'm going to be able to scale up and do some, pretty big numbers. So that's kind of how that happens. All right, so the other thing here, a mistake here can be, especially once you're profiting, is just getting complacent and losing your motivation to keep going. I talk to a lot of people. This is a problem. This is a problem for me because what happens is you set like personal goals for yourself, and you think, well, if I could just make $200 a day, that would be amazing, right? That would maybe replace my current income. And you start thinking to yourself that, or maybe you think, well, I'd like to make $500 a day or $1,000 a day, whatever the number is that you have in your head. As soon as you hit that number, you tend to just like sort of want to kick back and relax, right? And you kind of forget that you need to continue to test and continue to try to expand that campaign to really push it forward and grow it as much as possible. So that's one of the biggest mistakes for people that start to have success. All right, so at this point you might be thinking, well, still, I've kind of explained all this stuff, but how is it possible to make $50,000 in a day in affiliate commissions with this, super simple direct linking to a ClickBank offer kind of thing? I mean, it just seems kind of crazy that that's even really possible, right? It's just the most basic, simple sort of affiliate setup that's out there. And so, this can't be the whole story, right? Like, what else is there that I'm not sharing here? Is there some secret that I haven't mentioned, okay? So I do want to talk about a couple other things. And, one of those things is just having sort of the right reason why you're really wanting to make all this money, right? Like, you want to make a bunch of money with media buying or with affiliate marketing. What is the reason? There needs to be a good reason behind it, I think. At least I think that's where my motivation comes from, and I think that's where a lot of people's motivation comes from. And it needs to be a little more than just like, I want to make a bunch of money so I can buy a Ferrari or whatever. It helps if it's something a little more substantial than that. Like you want to quit your job, or you want to get out of debt, or I had somebody tell me the other day that their big motivation right now is they want to pay off their house. So mortgage isn't what most people think of as debt, because it's just sort of accepted that everybody has a mortgage. But, this particular guy said, he told me he wants to pay off his house. Well, that's a pretty big motivator. I mean, to be free and clear on the house that you live in would feel pretty great, right? I mean, that would be an amazing accomplishment. So, those are the kinds of things, that I think will really keep you motivated, okay? Because there's all this, junk out there with, ClickBank, BizOp kind of stuff, and people telling you, that you're going to make $1 million overnight and push button success and all that kind of stuff. The reality is that to do this stuff requires a little bit of work, right? You have to put in a little bit of work, and you have to kind of figure it out. It's very possible to make a lot of money, but I think that it helps to have something that you're really focused on as a big reason why, so that you kind of push through what's required to get it done. So actually, sort of related to this, what I want to share with you is that the other trick that I kind of have, and that is Adbeat, okay? And this is really what I kind of say is really my only trick. All right, now I developed Adbeat, and I use Adbeat, and I'm going to show you in a little bit how Adbeat was used to kind of create the success that I talked about earlier with my recent campaigns. I'm going to show you how other people have been using it with a couple other case studies. But the thing is, the reason, I want to mention this at the same time as my big reason why, or what's my passion that's like driving me to do big affiliate commissions. In fact, it's really Adbeat right now. Like, I'm really motivated to build Adbeat into the best possible software platform that it can possibly be for me and for all of you guys, right? So that's really what was motivating me, towards the end of this last year and earlier this year, to really push and achieve some huge commissions and a lot of success, because I wanted to make sure I had all the resources I needed to hire the right people for Adbeat and to really build Adbeat into an even more amazing product than it already is. All right, so let's kind of get into a little bit about what Adbeat does. So if you're not familiar with Adbeat and you haven't seen the interface before, this probably seems a little bit overwhelming. There's an awful lot to look at here, and I'm not going to cover every single thing that Adbeat does, but I am going to kind of highlight some of what the product does, so that you'll understand why it's so useful and how I use it for my own campaigns. So the basic idea, okay, behind Adbeat is that it shows you what's working in the marketplace. Okay, so it's going to show you who's having success with media buying, with display ad networks. We cover 30 or more different self-serve or display ad networks. So what Adbeat really shows you is what's working, and at a very detailed level, down to the creative, down to the sites that people are placing the ads on that are working for them. And so let's kind of look at a little bit of some of the features here, what we're really looking at here. So this left box here, the left red box, is an Adbeat, a trend line here, okay? This is a trend line of how over time, you're looking at a 90-day view, right here, you can see that. You're looking at a 90-day view of this advertiser, and what's the advertiser? Here we go. Consumerlifestyles.org is the advertiser here. So this is a huge advertiser. This is actually the #1 advertiser on the AdSonar self-serve platform right now, okay, and for a long time it's been. So that's very easy to see in Adbeat. It's very easy to see all of the top advertisers on the AdSonar network. Now AdSonar is a self-serve network. If you're not familiar with it, it's a great network. There's a lot of traffic available. Really easy to get started because you can start with text ads. You don't have to create banners and all that. So that's an example, and you're looking at this trend line, and what the trend line shows you is that they've been showing consistently for 90 days straight. And when you see that, that's a really good sign. That's an indication that these guys are profitable. They're continuing to spend money on media and continue to show this campaign, which means that they're making money, because nobody spends this kind of money on media if they're not actually profitable. All right. The counts column here just gives you an idea of the relative size of the advertiser. So one down here that's showing at 245,000 versus this one, it's in the 1.4 million. This advertiser is roughly 7 times as large as this one here. Okay, that's what the count shows you. So there's a way to understand relative magnitude of each of these advertisers. It's got questions here from, let's see, Chris asking, is the count daily? So what you're looking at with this trend line is the daily count, okay? So that's how we make this trend line. It's the daily count over time, okay? Now, this number here is the sum of all of the last 90 days, okay? So you're looking at a summary of 90 days with this number. But the trend line is the daily count. And you'll see some really weird things with some of these trend lines. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Because that's actually really important. All right, now let's look at another screen here with Adbeat. So what you'll see here is basically our keyword search tab, where you can search for a keyword and get information about advertisers that are in whatever market that you're interested in. Okay, this data is just available to you at all times. You just log in and you do a keyword search for anything. You don't have to wait for something to happen or over time or any of that. The data is just there and it's ready for you to search on. So I know that the scholarships market is kind of an interesting market in the CPA space, or there's affiliate offers related to scholarships, and I know there's some affiliates out there that are promoting this kind of stuff. So I thought, why don't I take a look at what's going on with scholarships as a keyword. So let's see, Bill's asking, is this Google only? No, we cover 30 different ad networks. Google is just one of them, okay? Bill, we don't cover Facebook because it's behind a login, so we can't get to those ads without violating their terms of service. So we don't cover Facebook. Okay, now when you do a search here, this is what you get. You get these results that shows all these ads over here in this right grid, okay? And it shows all this information about the advertiser for the ad, the trend line here for this ad over the last, we're looking at 180 days now, so this is a 6-month timeline that you can see. The number of days seen, the first seen, and all this kind of stuff here for this advertiser. Now, there's a couple interesting things about this. Okay, one is that all 4 of these I know are performance advertisers here. This is an actual CPA offer. This is an affiliate. This is either an offer or an affiliate. There's just a lot of activity here in this space. Just right here at the top of these ads, you can see right away that there's all these different advertisers that are in this market. Now, over here on the left, what you'll see is a grid that shows all the advertisers that we're finding on this particular keyword, okay? and you can filter the results on the right by just clicking some of these boxes. So this allows you to kind of take a high-level look at what's happening in the market, and then here you're going to get the detailed information on all the ads in this market. Okay. All right. So here's a feature that we just actually pushed. We're constantly improving Adbeat, and this is a feature that we just pushed live last week, I believe, and it's a really cool feature that we just added. So now what we're looking at is an advertiser dashboard view of what's happening with one of those offers from that previous page. Okay, this is scholarshipsformoms.net. And what this is going to show is a summary of all the information we have about scholarshipsformoms.net. Okay, so you're going to see the top phrases that they're using and all of their creative and their ads. That's what this is showing you here. So you get a really easy look at sort of how they're doing their advertising on a high level at the phrases that they're using. And then here are going to be similar advertisers. So what you're going to find here are advertisers that are advertising very similarly to scholarshipsformoms.net. And of course, this is a great way to find other affiliates or other affiliate offers that are being promoted in the same market. It's really easy to just scan through here and see, what else is going on very quickly, and just click through here and get more information about an advertiser that you see that looks interesting. Now, of course, we show a summary of what ad networks they're showing on, the top publishers that they're advertising on. These are the websites that their ads are found on. And if you scroll down on this page, you'll find more information about, are they using image ads or text ads? Here's one of those factors that we talked about earlier, that, what are the ad sizes that they're using that are having success? Okay, so we're going to show you the breakdown of ad size for each of these advertisers as well. I've got a question here. Is this only U.S. data? Yes, Jay, we're only covering the U.S. For now anyway, and I'll tell you why that is really quickly. It's possible to go out and get some of this data for other countries, but the thing is, I really want to maintain our focus and have the highest quality possible data for the U.S. So really, it's just about focus for us. We may later cover some other geographies, but in order for us to provide data that's just highly accurate and the most detail available, I'm focusing on U.S. data right now. So everything you're looking at is U.S. data, and that's what we're focused on because the U.S. is just the largest market, of course, and so that's where our focus is right now. All right. Now, here's another screen that we have that, if you selected an advertiser, here you're looking at an advertiser called Beyond Diet. Okay, this is actually a ClickBank product. It's in the diet market that's operating on the Google display network heavily right now. You can't promote it as an affiliate, just to let you know, but this is a ClickBank diet offer that's on Google right now. So, check this out. You see this weird pattern here? You see this like spiky sort of pattern with this trend line? What do you guys think that is? Does anybody have any idea what would cause that? Just type in the questions box there if you have an idea. What can you get from seeing something like this? Let's see. We got a couple of guesses here. Promotions, split testing new ads. Okay. Joseph is saying day parting. So that's close, Joseph. It's day of week parting, if that's what you meant. We can't currently with Adbeat, we can't show like time of day parting, but we can show you day of week parting. So if you were logged into Adbeat and you were to just click this button here for this ad to expand this trend line, I'm going to show you what you'd see. All right. So here's what you'd see. You would see this trend line right here expanded out over a much larger viewing area, and you've noticed that there's these two little red dots regularly occurring. Okay, what we do is we highlight the weekend days so you can see very quickly if there's a pattern, and in this case it's really obvious, right? This is Saturday and Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, and when you mouse over here we'll show you the exact day, and of course it's Saturday and this is Sunday, right? So what you can see very quickly with this advertiser is that they're making heavy use of either bid optimization or ad scheduling on the weekends versus the weekday. Okay, so this is one of those factors that we talked about earlier that can be very important for a campaign in order to have success. they've figured this out, of course, because they've spent, many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars on advertising already. But this is something that you can learn from Adbeat about this particular advertiser and about this market very quickly and easily without spending any of your own money. Okay, understanding this before you even enter a market can save you a ton of money. I can't really emphasize this enough. All right, let's see. Chris is saying there are tutorials on Adbeat. Yeah, of course, we've got tutorials. We've got a YouTube channel set up, and we're adding more and more tutorials. So there's definitely tutorials for this stuff. All right, let's look at a couple more things here. Okay, so for this same advertiser, if you wanted to see what publishers they were showing on, you would just click over to this Publishers tab here. And now what you're looking at is all these little trend lines here are for this advertiser on each of these individual publishers. So you can see that this advertiser has been showing steadily for the last 90 days on CookingLight.com, on Prevention.com, right? On AccidentsPlanet.com, which is kind of an interesting site here. So this is going to show you, just very visually and very easily that, these are some good sites for this particular market and this advertiser in particular. We'll even show you the exact URLs that we're finding the ads on, and this can be useful if you're advertising on the Google Display Network for coming up with some keyword ideas for your ad groups and that sort of thing. All right, so what else can you do? There's a lot, and believe me, I'm not covering anywhere near all of the features and all the screens that are available with Adbeat. I'm just trying to highlight some of the more important things here in this this webinar. So here's some other things that you can do. Okay, this is a view of several ads plotted on the same chart, and what you'll see here, what you're actually looking at here is a split test that cost this advertiser thousands of dollars and a full month to run. Okay, this is from the start here to the end is a 90-day window, and what you'll see here is they launched these 4 ads, and you can see they're very similar in ad copy. They're just slightly different versions of kind of the same sort of theme. And they launched 4 ads on the same day, and you can see after a few weeks' time they turn off this red ad, and then they turn off the green ad and this yellowish orange ad, and then this blue line stays running, okay, and that's this 50 circuit workouts ad. Now, when you see an advertiser do this, it's really obvious that what they're doing is they're split testing ads, okay? They launched them on the same day, they ran them for a certain period of time, and they turned off the ads that weren't working, and you're left with the ad that is working for them, okay? This, to get this data on your own would cost you many thousands of dollars to run this test, all right? So if you were in a similar market with this, or you're promoting a similar product, what you're going to get here is not just the ad that's working, okay? You're actually going to get the test results, and you can see that these ads did not work as well. So if you were going to test against this ad, you probably wouldn't want to try this headline or this headline or this one, right? Because somebody's already tested that for you. It would make more sense to spend your own money testing some other headline that's hopefully going to do better than 50 circuit workouts, right? So this is a really cool feature. It's one of the things that's available to you in Adbeat. All right. Now, a couple other things. Of course, we cover all the major sort of ad formats. We cover flash ads, image ads, GIFs, JPEGs, all the different image ads, animated GIFs, text ads, text image ads for networks that have the combination text image style ads like Pulse 360 or like AdSonar. And then the last screen here I want to show you just to give you an example of just give you an example of some cool, some of the cool insights that you can get from Adbeat just very quickly. This is an advertiser in the credit market, okay? This is a credit score offer, and this is a list of the publishers that we're finding them on, and this is the top publishers basically, ordered by importance here. And what you'll find here, what you see is that you see these 3 that I've got the arrow pointing to, they're lottery sites, okay? Now, why would a credit score offer be advertising on lottery sites? It just seems kind of strange, right? I mean, it's not something that you would just think of on your own, without spending a lot of money testing to find this out. Now, I can guarantee you there's a really good reason why they're showing on these sites, okay? They've probably spent a lot of money and figured out that for whatever reason, these sites convert really well, okay? So that's the kind of thing that you can find very quickly and easily in Adbeat. This is the kind of thing that can make you a lot of money with advertising. When you find sort of a little kind of a hidden audience that responds to your offer that other people don't really know about, that's where there's not as much competition, and that's where you can oftentimes make the highest profits, the highest margins. All right. So just to kind of recap here, what is Adbeat really all about? Well, there's a lot of things that Adbeat allows you to do. And one of the ways that I like to think about this is, what kind of questions does Adbeat allow you to answer? And what sort of questions might you want to ask before you even get started with a campaign? Now, these bottom two that we have here are actually kind of a lot of what we talked about during this webinar. Okay, we talked about the campaign factors and how do you lock those down. Right? What Adbeat allows you to do is really get a lockdown on many of those campaign factors. Now, it's not perfect. You can't get every single bit of information that you would want. Although, believe me, we're working towards providing more and more to where you will be able to get even more information. But it allows you to lock down variables, lock down some of those factors before you even spend any money at all. Okay, so that's really one of the main benefits of Adbeat, right? You save yourself the expense of trying to figure out what works when other people have already figured it out. Now, the second question here is, which of those 5 paths that we covered earlier are working in a particular market or on a particular ad network? Because they don't all work for every market, and each of those paths don't work on every network necessarily. Oftentimes you'll find that there's kind of certain combinations, and Christian talked about this a little bit, at the beginning of this call, right? There's kind of these combinations of things that work, okay? So the combination of path and the market and the ad network, that's an important combination to understand, and Adbeat will help you to understand that before you spend any money and waste any of your time figuring out that a promotion method that you picked is the wrong way to go about promoting in a certain market or a certain offer, okay? Now, there's a lot of other things that you can get. These are just some other examples, okay? You can say, what are the most successful advertisers on each network? Well, we saw that was very easy to find when I showed you that consumer lifestyles site at the very top of the list for Ad Sonar. Okay, so it's very easy to tell for every network what's the most successful advertiser. What are the hottest markets? Well, that's pretty easy to figure out as well, because you can just look at the advertisers that are having the most success, and then you can figure out what market they're in, right? What are the products that they're promoting? What are the offers they're promoting? And then the last one that I have here that I want to mention, because this is an important one for a lot of people, and a lot of you guys understand that I've done a lot of promotion in the past on the Google Display Network. I absolutely love the Google Display Network. It's a fantastic ad network. Now, the trick with Google is that you have to know what they'll allow you to promote, okay? If you do things wrong, you're going to get banned, or you're going to get slapped, or whatever you want to call it, and you're not going to be able to run your campaign on Google. So one of the things that I use Adbeat for it's extremely valuable for this, is just figuring out, what does Google consider acceptable, okay? If you've ever looked at their, advertising terms, you'll know that it's not very easy to figure out exactly what you need to do with your site to meet all their terms and to make sure that they're going to be happy with your, the way you're promoting affiliate offers, okay? But what you can do with Adbeat is just look at what's running on Google. Look at what's been running for 6 months, If you know what's been running on Google for 6 months, well, you can pretty much be guaranteed that if you create a similar type of site and a similar type of promotion, then you're going to also have success with Google, okay? They're going to accept your site, and you're not going to have to worry about getting banned or getting slapped, okay? So that's another great benefit of using Adbeat. All right, now I mentioned I had some case studies, and let me kind of get into that here. I'm going to show you some examples of people and some different business models and how those campaigns have come about. Okay, now this first one is one of my campaigns. Okay, so this is me, and this is my best month on one of these campaigns. This is one of those clickbait campaigns that I showed you earlier from this year, right? So my best month on just one of those offers, remember it was 2 offers, so on one of those offers, my best month was $80,000 profit, okay? Now here's how that campaign came about, okay? I browsed Adbeat for top advertisers and ads, all right? And I found a long-running ad promoting a ClickBank product, and it was in a certain market, okay? I'm not going to tell you what the market is, sorry. Then I searched ClickBank to find other products in that same market. And what I did at that point was I checked Compete and Alexa for traffic because I wanted to know, and maybe am I missing something here? Maybe the offer that I found in Adbeat, maybe there's somebody else out there, doing other promotional methods or something that I'm not aware of in the same market, and maybe there's actually a better offer to promote than the one that I found in Adbeat. So I wanted to make sure that that wasn't the case. So I searched ClickBank, found a couple other products, and then I checked Alexa and I found, traffic estimates for the top 4 products in that market. Now at that point, what I decided to do was just focus on the top 2 products with the highest traffic, okay? So the reason I did that is because those are the ones that are most likely to be the highest converting offers, just because traffic is attracted to those offers because they convert well. That's the way it works with ClickBank offers and affiliate promotions, okay? The affiliates figure it out and they start sending more traffic to the one that converts better. So I chose the two products with the highest traffic, and then I created a very similar banner to the one that I found in Adbeat. Okay, didn't reinvent the wheel here. I created a very similar banner, similar copy, all that, and I started testing with that new banner on a direct site buy. Okay, now this was with a direct site buy that I already had basically an existing traffic deal with. Okay, so I was able to just kind of plug in a banner ad and get moving with it quickly. Of course, if you didn't have that, you would just go out and you would find traffic, whether it was on a network or whether it was a direct site buy. But in this case, I actually had something already existing, and it was on a fairly high traffic site. And so the way that this actually worked out, I mean, this is not how it usually goes, but this is how this particular campaign came about. I actually, from the moment I flipped that ad in, of course, I did all this work beforehand, right? I figured out which product was working and figured out what banner was going to work and all that. But as soon as I put that into rotation on the traffic from that site, I was profiting between $300 and $500 a day immediately on that campaign. There was no optimization necessary. There was nothing. It was just immediate profit coming in because of course I'd already had these important factors locked down, right? I already knew that the banner was going to work well. I already knew that the product was going to work well, and so it ended up working extremely well on that site. I scaled that over the next 4 months, and the best day on that campaign was $8,000 profit. Okay. So Chris is asking, how did I scale? I scaled by just expanding out and approaching new ad networks and new sites. I mean, it's as simple as that. Okay. There wasn't like a magic behind the scaling, really. It was just kind of a lot of work put into reaching out and buying more traffic. Now, of course, as I was scaling, I was doing more testing with banners and all that kind of stuff, right? So I was improving the banners and that kind of thing. But this one actually just right out of the gate started profit immediately. Okay, it's not usually how things work out, but I just want to give you one example from one of those products that was from those screenshots earlier. All right, now here's another example. This is from an Adbeat customer. This is from John, who actually purchased the offer that I have for you guys at the end of this webinar. I made the same offer last year, or similar offer last year. It was actually more added in this year. But John purchased that last year, and so he got started with display advertising essentially right after watching one of these webinars. Now, he did have some experience with PPC before. Okay, so he'd had experience with Google and MSN Ad Center with search. Okay, he'd never done any sort of display. So he used the data in Adbeat to basically ramp up a display campaign that ended up doing, just in January of this year, his best month ever, which was a net profit of almost $17,000 and a total revenue of $135,000 here. Now, I forgot to mention, this was a multi-step landing page model. So my intention here is to show you guys different people having success with several of these different models. So this was a different model than the direct linking that I was doing on that previous example. So he was using a landing page here, and this is the results that he got. Okay, so obviously this was well worth the investment, right? Because he made over 10 times his investment on this 1 month alone, right? Now he's been making money on this campaign since, the middle of last year. Okay, so this has been ongoing for a long time. Everything that I'm talking about today is long-term sort of stuff. Okay, I'm not sharing with you any examples that's this kind of flash in the pan sort of stuff. Everything we're talking about is long-term potential, long-term markets, all of that. All right, now another thing that he mentions here that I think is really important is that he says, this gave me the confidence to keep pushing forward. Basically, just seeing what other people were doing by looking at what's happening in Adbeat. I really can't overemphasize this point and how important it is. It's really essential that you understand that other people are having success. That's what really gives you the confidence to kind of keep moving forward and keep doing the work that's required to have a campaign that's successful. Okay, it's extremely important that you understand that other people are out there that are already having success. That's what gives you the faith to kind of keep pushing forward. Let's see here. We got so it's funny, every time I mention this example to somebody brings up the point here, and it's like this ROI is bad. Okay, that's the basic gist of the what's said. Okay, this is a terrible ROI, right? You have to spend almost $120,000 to net $17,000. Well, I mean, I guess you could look at it that way. That's not the way I would look at it. First of all, when you're on weekly payments, weekly payouts, which of course you are when you're operating like this, you really only need 1/4 of that as an actual float. Okay, so you only need 1/4 of $120,000 because you're turning over the money weekly, right? So you really only need, what you're talking about here is returning $17,000 in a month on $30,000 capital, right? $30,000 that you have available for ad spend. Now, I don't even know, John may have been purchasing some or a lot of this on credit. I don't even know. If I was running this campaign and I was spending $120,000 for $17,000 profit, I would have done that without using any of my own money at all. So, you're not actually spending the money. You're actually making the money first and then paying the credit line down. So, would I take this campaign any day? Yeah, of course. I don't know. I think most people would like to make $17,000 in a month. The ROI is not even a concern, and it's actually much higher than you would think because of what I just explained about the weekly turnover. Okay. All right. So let's see here. The next example is lead capture arbitrage. Okay, this is that third model that we covered. Now this is another example from me. This is not something I've talked about yet on this webinar at all. Okay, this has nothing to do with the ClickBank stuff that I was showing you. This is a completely different market from that ClickBank stuff. My best month on this campaign was $6,000 profit, and this is the way this campaign came about. Okay, I browsed Adbeat for top advertisers and ads. I found a long-running advertiser that was using this model. Okay, I was specifically interested in this model, and I found somebody that was using a very simple lead capture page. Now, we're not talking about any sort of fancy site design, very simple WordPress kind of style site design, and a very simple follow-up series. They were promoting one affiliate offer. So there wasn't this big complex email path with 20 different affiliate offers or anything like that. This is actually, by the way, this is the first lead capture affiliate campaign that I ever attempted. So I was looking for something simple because it was the first the first time I'd ever used this kind of campaign, and so I wanted it to be simple. I started with a WordPress site, and I used Aweber as an email service, so really simple, hosted email provider. You can get started with Aweber for $20, I think, a month. So that's how I started, and I started testing on, this time I did a little different. Okay, I started testing on the same ad network of the guy that I found that was running something similar, and I started testing with, of course, very similar ad copy and placements because that's where I always like to start. I always like to start with something that I know is working, and then I improve on it later. Okay, I don't just stick with ad copy that somebody else has come up with. I immediately start to work on improving the ad copy and improving the targeting, and then scaling to other traffic sources. I actually ended up leaving the ad network that I started on initially and transferring most of my traffic over to a different ad network for just a couple reasons. I'm not really, it's too complicated to get into right now. But I found another traffic source that this initial advertiser wasn't even using, and I scaled out on that traffic source, and that's what allowed me to hit about $6,000 in a month profit. Now this one actually took me a little while to get profitable. I kind of took this one really slow, and I operated at break even for a while, and it actually took me a couple months until I was profitable. My best day for this campaign was 2,000 opt-ins in a single day and about $1,000 profit. This campaign ran about $200,000 gross commission, so this wasn't like a huge campaign like some of those that I showed you earlier, but it wasn't really a small campaign either, right? I mean, that's fairly substantial profit in a month for this campaign, and this was kind of just a side deal that I was kind of working on while I was doing a lot of other stuff. All right, now here's the last case study that I have. This is a digital product, okay? So this is somebody that found something that was already working, another merchant that had created a digital product, and they basically just started work and created their own product to promote. And this worked surprisingly well. I'm kind of amazed that Jake spent so little money and was able to get this working so quickly, but here's the numbers that he provided to me, okay? So best month so far, $6,600 profit. Now I want to point your attention to this. This was just last month that, or actually I guess it's March, so it's 2 months ago I guess, that he hit $6,600 profit. I should check in with him. I don't know what he did in April. It was probably higher. My guess is that he's eventually going to hit a lot higher with this campaign, because this is only after about 3 months of running this campaign. So basically every month was getting better and better and better. So this is the last data that I have from Jake. It was $6,600 profit in March. This was done entirely with the Google Display Network. This is the ad spend for that month, and this is the ClickBank sales after refunds and chargebacks and all that. So again, this is a ClickBank merchant account. So this is somebody who's decided to go and just create their own digital product and then promote it through the Google Display Network. And again, I mentioned that you can promote ClickBank on the Google Display Network in certain cases. Okay, it's not something I would recommend, but that's exactly what he's doing with this particular product. All right. Now here's the cost involved in this, and it's surprisingly little cost. $9 for a domain name, very simple site design, $100, coding $100, and then the ebook is no cost because it was just 2 months of part-time work that Jake put into this. Now he wasn't an expert in this market. I know exactly what market this is. It's kind of a relatively small niche market. He is not an expert in this market. He's still not an expert in this market. He just basically did the research necessary to write an ebook, got it done in 2 months at no cost, and threw this site up and started optimizing, of course, based on the data that is available in Adbeat. That's fairly easy to do because you've already found the product. So this is how this is basically the path that you take with Adbeat to do something like this. You browse Adbeat for find a top advertiser who's using this info product model. You want to make sure they're consistently advertising for 6 months is great. If it's 3 months, that's pretty good also. That obviously I'm here in part to promote Adbeat tonight. Okay, I have an offer that's in just a couple slides here I'm going to show you, and so I'm here promoting Adbeat. I'm sharing this stuff with you guys because I think if I share my best information with you guys, then you're going to be more likely to want to learn more about the training that I have to offer and learn more about Adbeat. Now the second thing here is, how much money do I need to have for advertising? This is a question that I get a lot. Now, the answer to this is that you don't have to have probably as much as you think, but you do need to have some money. Okay, I would recommend that you have, say, maybe around $500 a month to spend on advertising. That's probably a good place to start. Now, can you start with less than that? You can. When I started advertising, actually, I told you the financial state that I was in. When I started with $5 a day on the Google Display Network, and I upped that within a couple of days because I got kind of sick of waiting around for results. So I upped it to $10 a day. And when I started out, I was, just as scared as anybody is about spending money and thinking I'm going to just lose a bunch of money. But you know what? When I started seeing commissions, that changed pretty quickly. I started realizing, okay, this is like real, and then I got a little more comfortable, trying to find, more places to put money into it and to ramp things up. So that's kind of how I started. You don't have to have a ton of money to get started, but you do need to have, a few $100 a month for sure. I'd recommend $500. If you have more than that, that's great. You're in a better position, but you don't need to have more than that in order to have a decent chance at, having success. And the last one here is just, is this product for everybody? Let's see here. I've got, sorry, I'll get to these. I'm looking at some of these questions. I got sidetracked a little bit. I'll get to some answers here in a little bit. Is the product for everybody? So the product is for anybody that is, realizes the opportunity that's out there with media buying, with affiliate marketing. And I think, everybody on this webinar should now understand the opportunity. If you didn't before you got on this call, it should be pretty clear by the end of this call. So anybody that understands that opportunity and wants to move forward with learning more about how to make money or improve however much money you're making now. Okay, if you're already having success in some other media or some other promotional methods, this product will help you to have more success. I absolutely believe it's a fantastic opportunity for anybody that wants to learn media buying and wants to have successful campaigns and actually make money doing this stuff. Okay, I've provided a bunch of examples during this webinar to show you how people are actually using Adbeat and the kinds of stuff that I'm covering in this training. Now, how do you get Adbeat? Okay, this is a special that's only available for 3 days. Okay, this isn't something that I do constantly. I'm not in the business of every single week going out there and promoting this offer through a webinar. Okay, this is something that I do for a very limited time, and I had a couple webinars last year. And then I completely shut down and went into doing my own stuff and building Adbeat. And here I am this year, and I have this opportunity that's only available for 3 days. Okay, it's a limited time offer. We're going to get to what exactly the offer is next. Now, I really believe this is an opportunity for a true unfair advantage. I mean, I honestly can't imagine trying to do media buying without having access to what Adbeat provides. It's just so incredibly valuable. If this is how you plan to make money. Okay, and it's also access to a proven system and training, and we're going to get into what's covered right here. So here's what's included in this package, right? Adbeat Professional, which is our highest level subscription for 1 year. The value of that, if you were to buy on a monthly basis for a year, is $23.88. Okay, $2,388. People pay this all the time. We have many customers happily paying this rate for access to Adbeat only with no additional training or any of the other things that you're going to see are included with this offer. Now, the real value of this software is easily $25,000, and I'll tell you why that is. Okay, well, I mean, I just showed you people who are having success with Adbeat, myself or other people. Let's take the example of John, right? I mean, he showed the best month, $17,000 profit, using the data that he found in Adbeat to scale out that campaign. I mean, that's just 1 month profit of $17,000. So it's easy to see why the software, the true value, is at least $25,000. There's a couple products out there that are sold by these big companies to a lot of like Fortune 1000 kinds of customers, and they actually sell at $25,000. They're basically competitive products to Adbeat, and they sell at $25,000 for a year of access. Okay. Now, I've actually had people tell me who had access to those products that the data that's in Adbeat and the value of the data that's in Adbeat is actually more valuable than what they're getting with one of those $25,000 a year products. So that's the other reason why I'm saying with confidence the real world value of the software is $25,000. Now, the other thing I want to mention here is that in the last year we've invested $500,000 improving this software. Now, we've been building Adbeat for a little over 3 years now. Okay, so there were several years of development into this software before last year when I was doing these webinars. Since last year when I did a couple of these webinars, we've invested $500,000 additional money that has just been pumped into making Adbeat a better product and more valuable to anybody that has access. Okay, and that's for me because I use Adbeat myself, and for anybody that's a customer of Adbeat. So I just want to mention that as well. Now, this includes all new features for the next 12 months, so I'm not going to like lock you out of features or anything like that if we add new things, and of course we are adding new things constantly. So you get access to everything that's new that's in the next 12 months as well at this special webinar price. The guaranteed renewal is at the same yearly investment for one additional year. Now, I can't guarantee the same price for an additional year because it's such a a steal basically at this price that I don't know where we're going to be at in 2 years' time, and we may be at double the price point on a monthly basis. So I'll guarantee a renewal at this rate for one additional year. I can't guarantee it beyond that, but you're locked in at this special price for one additional year if you take advantage of this offer. All right, now here's the training that's included. There's a bunch of training modules that some of these were created last year. These first 8 were actually created last year. So these are actually in the membership area right now. So right when you log in, you'll have access to these 8 modules. And I'm not going to get into too much detail about these because on the link that I'm going to give in a few slides, you'll be able to see more detail about what's covered here. But here's what I want you to know about these modules, okay? This is what I think is necessary for you to have success with media buying, right? So I'm going to cover the things that are important for having success with media buying. So that's kind of how I've laid out these 8 modules. The other thing I want to mention, because I said these were recorded last year, is that all the information that's in here is just as good right now as it was a year ago. That's one of the great things about not following strategies that are something that's going to be gone next month or whatever. Okay, all the stuff that I teach is fundamental stuff, it's fundamental principles that you need to be successful, and so it's still just as good today as it was a year ago. I checked in and looked at some of these webinars because it'd been a while since I made these, and I wanted to make sure that everything was still relevant, and it is. I can promise you that. Okay. So the new training that's available, right? I just started creating this new training. We just finished Module 9 2 days ago, so that's actually available in the members area right now as well. In this module, I cover building a list with display advertising using that lead capture arbitrage model. I explain, I show some people that are doing this successfully right now, and I share with you a lot of my experience with email marketing that I've gained over the last year so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did, because believe me, I wasted a lot of time and I made a lot of mistakes over the last year really figuring this stuff out. That's what's covered in Module 9. Now in Module 10, I'm going to get into some really cool stuff with uncovering markets and paths that are working. This is really about sort of like high level, or not high level, I mean like advanced kind of how do you use Adbeat, how do I use Adbeat myself, and you'll get some insight into how I look at all that data that you saw earlier on some of those screenshots and make sense of it, okay? The kinds of things that I'm thinking that allow me to make decisions to choose the right things. So this is important, and you'll learn a lot of things here that you're not going to get anywhere else, okay? Module 11 here is all about AOL Ad Desk. I mentioned that was one of my traffic sources for driving that massive amount of traffic for those screenshots earlier this year. So I'm going to cover a whole module on AOL Ad Desk. Whoops. I'll cover a whole module on AOL Ad Desk and really kind of explain to you, how that traffic source works and what I found with, all the money that I've spent on AOL Ad Desk. And believe me, I've spent a lot of money on Ad Desk. All right, so we got a question here from David. Let's see here. Are the modules weekly? So the modules, I'm not going to give you an exact time where these next 2 will be done. I don't, I'll probably cover one late next week and then another one a week after that. There's not necessarily a set schedule for these next 2 modules. So that's, hope that answers that question. But yeah, roughly weekly, these 2 modules will come in. All right, now here's what else is included, okay? There's a private forum. You can ask anything you want in that forum and I'll personally answer. So I'm the person in the forum that's actually providing answers. Of course, there's other people in the forum that provide their own answers, like a forum typically works. But this is something for you to have access to me and so that you can get help with something if you're having trouble, and I'll personally answer you in the forum. The value of this affiliate training in the private forum is easily worth more than the software. There's no question about that. And it's not available through any of the website plans. So, having mouse trouble today. So it's not available through any of the website plans. You can only access this forum and this training through this special webinar deal, okay? The monthly plans that are on the website that people buy all the time have no additional training or no forum that come with those plans, all right? Now here's the benefits to investing in this package, okay? The biggest thing is you can learn from the best. And here I'm not actually talking about me, okay? I mean, I think pretty highly of what I do. I think I do a pretty good job with affiliate marketing, and I'm one of the best out there doing this kind of affiliate marketing and media buying. But that's not actually what I mean by this point here. What I mean here is that you have access to Adbeat. You have access to Adbeat, and you can basically see what the best people are doing in every single market, okay? It doesn't matter what market you're interested in, you'll see what's happening with Adbeat. So this is how I learn. This is what I use Adbeat for. There's other people out there doing bigger numbers than me, and I can see what they're doing in Adbeat, and that gives me an opportunity to learn from people that are better than me. So that's really what I'm offering here, okay? Not just the training that I have to offer. It's really learning from everybody out there that's currently advertising, and that's why Adbeat is just really so valuable. Now, the next point here is that you'll save yourself hundreds of hours of work. So I don't know what your time is worth to you, but even if it's only worth $20 an hour or something, at hundreds of hours of work, you can see how much money would be involved there if you were to put in the effort required to do all the split testing of every factor that you need to figure out yourself. Figure out what model's working, test all those different models in every market. There's just so much involved there and so much time of wasted energy that you have to put in order to have success if you're not using a competitive intelligence solution like Adbeat, all right? Now for beginners, this means that you can stop wondering how to get started, okay? A lot of times beginners are just kind of sitting on the sideline and they're scared to get started. Maybe this is you, I don't know. But if you are, if this is you, you'll see very quickly how people are having success with Adbeat. And the great thing about that is that you can just use somebody's method that they've already figured out and it's proven, and then move forward with that. And that's going to help you to kind of break that pattern of just kind of not doing anything. All right. Now, if you're experienced, you can stop wondering how to move forward. There's also a common thing where people reach a certain point in their affiliate marketing or with their business, and they can't figure out how to scale past that. Okay, there's a lot of people out there like that. Now, if this is you, Adbeat is gonna show you how to move forward. Okay, it's very obvious, what you need to do to reach these upper levels of affiliate marketing when you're inside Adbeat and you're looking at what people are doing. It's just, it's right there, front and center. It's very easy to see what the guys are doing that are making the most money. And so that's going to give you the information you need to move forward to kind of break through a plateau. All right. And the last thing I want to mention is just that my goal here with this package is to provide you at least 10 times the value of your investment. Now, we saw earlier that just from that 1 month alone that John posted with that case study was easily 10 times his investment, okay, just in 1 month alone. So, my goal is to provide that to you. That's definitely sort of my underlying motivation through all the training and through developing the software. Now there's a 30-day guarantee. That means there's absolutely no risk to you. It's an unconditional guarantee. There's no questions asked, and you can just submit a support request to support@adbeat.com if you want a refund, and we'll get back to you very quickly with that and refund your money if you're not happy with the purchase. It's a money-back guarantee and no questions asked, right? So here's the offer that I have for you guys today. It's again special. It's only available for 3 days, and it's only available as an invite only through this webinar today. It's $14.97 for 1 year access to all those things we just covered, paid in full today, or 3 payments on a monthly basis of $547 a month. Now, this is obviously a huge discount off of just the software alone if you were to go to the site and try to buy the software. And when you couple that with the forum and with the training, this is just a crazy good deal, okay? So this is what I have for you guys today. If you want to take advantage of this, you can go to adbeat.com/webinar/PPC Ninja special offer, and that'll be available for 3 days. So at this point, this is all I have planned to cover today. So I'm happy to take questions from the questions box here at this point. All right. Let's see here. Stephen, we have hundreds of users for Adbeat. Okay, so that answers that question. Let's see. David saying swipe, improve, deploy. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what you do with Adbeat. Let's see. Sean, no, the software is not available for that price on the site. Check the pricing again. This price is much lower than you can buy it on the site, with no training and no forum, of course. All right, let's see here. All right, got a lot of questions coming in. Let me try to get to these. So let's see here. Chase or Chaz, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, is asking, got a product in 2 niches, horse training and riding, deer hunting. Will Adbeat help me uncover sites to place ads on, or is it geared mostly towards those bigger niches? The answer is if there's people spending money on display networks, probably Google Display is where I imagine you would be advertising for those niches, then we will find them, okay? As long as they're spending, just even a few, tens of dollars a day, we'll find them with Adbeat. So you'll be able to get competitive intelligence on anybody else who's out there with products like that. So I hope that answers that question. Let's see here. David saying, please post the link. So this is the link. Maybe Jared, if you could post this to everybody in the questions box, that would be helpful. We'll see if I have one of the Adbeat team members on the call here with me, kind of helping out with questions in the background. So hopefully he'll be able to post that link to the questions box. All right, let's see here. Got some other questions. Let's see here. Jay, contact us at support if you'd like, and we can talk. Let's see here. Paul is asking, one of the concerns about ClickBank is that it's so easy for customers to get refunds, and the long refund period, 60 days, isn't that somewhat risky? So Paul, my margins, when I'm promoting ClickBank, I know roughly what the refunds are going to be. Okay, so I'm going to ask the product owner what they're averaging for refunds, and then I'm going to add a little bit onto that because I'm going to think that they're probably being a little bit optimistic, right? That generally works. So I'm planning all that into my buys, and when I start seeing those commissions come in, I know what the refunds are going to be ahead of time, right? So I'm planning all that in. So all of that is factored in when I'm doing my promotions. Let's see here. Steven, we will have a replay available. I'll try to get that up later this evening. It might be early tomorrow before we have a replay up. Okay, let's see. So David's saying, I'm totally convinced of your abilities and results, but why offer us the secret sauce? So David, that's one of those common questions that I answered earlier. It's just there's so much opportunity out there. It just doesn't matter that much that I'm sharing this stuff with you. And you know what? I'll add another thing onto that, okay, that I didn't mention earlier. I don't plan to be direct linking ClickBank offers for all that much longer. I'm working on much more advanced funnels. Some of the lead capture stuff. I'm working on creating my own digital products. So I'm not planning on promoting, doing, some of this stuff for all that long. It doesn't mean there's not a ton of opportunity available. I just showed you how much opportunity there still is available. It's just that I'm kind of moving on to more complex stuff, and so that, that's kind of another reason. It just doesn't matter that much. But like I said, I'm here to promote Adbeat tonight, right? This is something that I do once a year, and I'm promoting Adbeat because I'm building Adbeat into a long-term business, and I'm trying to build the best software possible, and so I want customers for Adbeat. So that's part of why I'm willing to, give you a lot of the secret sauce here, basically, in this webinar alone, not to mention all the training. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Got a bunch of questions here. Proven health niche. Can you tell me a network? So yes, Ken, you can learn to scale. Scaling isn't really the problem. The problem is just getting the right combination of factors that I covered earlier. Once you have that down, the scaling becomes pretty easy. All right, it's just a matter of going out and doing the work. So if you're a current customer for Adbeat, go ahead and contact us at support if you want to take advantage of this offer. Contact us at support, and I can help you out. Chris is saying, I just purchased. Where are the modules? Thanks, Chris, for your purchase. The modules are, log in and you'll see a training link in the upper right. You'll be able to access those. Let's see here. Let's see. Doug, sorry, I don't have any other offers other than this package right here tonight. So it's the package deal. That's what I have to offer today. Let's see here. Fee must be paid annually. Yeah, this is an annual membership. Okay, so the offer here is for 1 year. And that gives you 1 year of access. The deal is that Adbeat is a hosted service. It costs a lot of money to maintain and run. We're constantly out there collecting ads every single day and putting them into a database. So yeah, I mean, if you want to renew the next year, there's a subscription charge for the next year. Let's see. All right. If you have any last questions, go ahead and type them, because if not, this call is getting pretty long, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap up pretty quickly. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions, so. Okay. Real quickly here, no traffic advance data. That's PPV, Jeff. We don't cover any PPV stuff. All right, so that's it. Let's make that the last question. If you guys have any further questions, go ahead and contact us at support@adbeat.com. David's saying, great interview on Mixergy. Great, I'm glad you liked that interview on Mixergy. If anybody hasn't checked that out, go check it out. All right, thanks everyone for attending. I appreciate all the questions that you had, and I hope this was really valuable to you. Go to adbeat.com/webinar/PPC Ninja special offer to take advantage of this package. All right, good night.